It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. A happy rainy Monday to you. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
And I'm Mark Daniels. Thank you for joining us dead early on this moist Monday.
It's a moist Monday. I say that, Mark. I would call it more of a flooded one, but I guess moist sounds better since it goes with the it has certainly been a very, very, what do you call it, Mark? A wet vet weekend.
Dead vet. And when you're talking about drunk.
It really has been, I think that this is one of those times where I really hope that we're just kind of paying attention to what can be possible. I live in a community that has never flooded before, and certainly all of a sudden this weekend the floodwaters came, and I think it was a reminder for me. I'm originally grew up in Grand Bahama, and in our last hurricane in Dorian, people were saying to people, listen, people are saying, why didn't you leave? Because areas flooded that never flooded before. Like, y'all do not understand that this does not happen. And I think it was similar for us here, especially in the western part of New Providence where I live, that areas in the backyard do not flood, right? But this time it did. And it's just a reminder, Mark, of these conversations around climate change. Well, this is what this looks like, right? This is why we need to be prepared. And now that we've had this experience in New Providence, and we'll continue to have it because it's supposed to be very wet today, Mark, to ask ourselves, how do we prepare for hurricanes more seriously? What steps do we need to take? This was only a rain system. Again, it will continue to rain today. That's my understanding. And I'm sure Godfrey will clarify, but are we ready, Mark? And my answer to that is no, we're not. I don't know how you feel, how it went for you and the kids and Paige.
Well, babies and Paige, they're good, they're dry, and that's number one priority, right? And the boys. But yeah, how do you prepare for something you've never been through? Everyone, most people who lived on Nassau past 30, 40, 50 years can think of a rainy event or storm event that's happened where you say, well, I've never seen that street flood before, or there's some area that's inaccessible. But now, as in the present day, that territory is expanding. And so, yeah, we might have said, oh yeah, Pinewood floods, or, you go downtown, it's going to flood. But now you can't say that anymore because anywhere is likely and liable to flood with these heavy downpours. We live on an island. Our rock is essentially Swiss cheese. So the water doesn't come from the shore, it comes from beneath your feet. So we have to think, we have to use the data that's available, the flood maps, we have to be prepared. You have to have a network of people that can help you. And most importantly, have a plan. Have a plan to how you're going to get out of your house, where you're going to go if you need to. Other than that, stay put, the waters will recede.
Yep, indeed. If you need to, I think that's the key. Certainly, we saw some cars, we drive higher vehicles, which I've always wanted since I first moved to Nassau and realized how bad flooding could get here. When I was driving a little Honda back in those days. Realized that was not going to be the car for me. And so I've always tried to get higher vehicles. But my hubby and I, as we were driving and had to go out on Saturday, so many cars were just stalled on the side of the road. They simply could not make it through. And then you had some cars, even though they were smaller, I guess they were SDs, so people didn't care as much, intending to make waves, right? Like trying to prove some sort of point that I don't know what it was. But it really is about being safe, about being cautious. And I want to remind people, we had a flooding event here several years ago, and people were saying, don't come through trying to look at houses and see flooding, because what you're doing as you're driving those vehicles through are pushing more waters into houses. So we just want everybody to be cautious, to be safe, to make sure that you're taking preventative methods if you need to. If you found in this storm that your house has flooded, you may want to invest in some sandbags and see how you can protect your doors more. And then to make sure that you have that supplies ready for the hurricane season, which will be upon us in just a few short weeks, Mark.
Definitely great advice. I feel like we can talk about this all morning because, hey, it's that time of year and it's time to be prepared if you're not prepared already.
Indeed. Well, we won't talk about it all morning. We've got another great show for you today. We're going to be talking with St. Anne's about their Climate Smart Campus Initiative, speaking of climate change. And we'll also check in with the Island School about their eco-friendly campus.
Definitely looking forward to those two segments, Storr. And we'll also be talking with our friend Merrit Storr about the government's policy paper on the future of digital assets in the Bahamas. And we'll also look at options for reducing inflation and crime in our Economic Pulse segment. Now, don't go yet. TCL is inviting you once again to the virtual Cat Island Business Outlook, happening this Thursday, May 19th. Join us for discussions about culture, tourism, business, education, and more. The event is free, so you can register at tclevents.com. The event is free. Now, to the most important man in the Bahamas right now, Godfrey. Now, last time I tell you I want sun, and then we get record rain. So give me more rain.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, Bahamas. And yes, Mark, there is more rain in the forecast. And unusually, Mark, we had 12.37 inches of rainfall at the Nassau International Airport late Friday night into Saturday morning over a 24-hour period. And the adjacent areas, we had about 8 to 9 inches of rainfall. So we had some severe flooding, particularly in the western area of the island over the weekend. But now we have a broad area of unstable MRs, coupled with troughing, will continue to support showers and thunderstorms across the chain of islands. So today, variable cloudiness to occasional overcast and warm, with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Those showers becoming heavier times, those thunderstorms strong to severe times, high temperature 87 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, another cloudy night slow weather-wise with a few showers, an isolated thunderstorm, low going down to 73 degrees Fahrenheit. And some region highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados 88 and 78. In Jamaica, 85 and 76. In Trinidad, 87 and 79. And the Turks and Caicos Islands, 87 and 73. Across North America, Atlanta, 85 to 64. In Raleigh, 87 to 66. In Miami, 86 and 74. Dallas, Texas, 94 and 72. And Toronto, Canada, 61 and 55. As you go the week, some lingering moisture will support some showers and isolated thunderstorms through Wednesday, a little partial clearing by Thursday. With the weekend looks like another wet Wednesday weather-wise. The temperature daytime will be in the upper 80s, at nighttime in the mid-70s. Let's put you off your first look at weather at sunrise. I'm Dr. Burnside. Back to you, Storr.
So much, Godfrey. St. Anne's School is engaged in a climate smart campus capacity building project and will be hosting a webinar on Thursday. Joining us this morning, we're very happy to welcome St. Anne's students and webinar panelists Caden Smith, Aaliyah Rolle, Mikelle Cartwright, Xyan Henry, and Kaileb Burrows. Ladies and my one good gentleman, good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to have all of you with us today to be learning more about the work that you're doing. Caden, I'm going to get started with you. Of course, Caden has been on our show many times for different initiatives over the years. Caden, what does it mean to be an eco school?
Pardon? Can you repeat that, please?
What does it mean to be an eco school?
Okay. Basically, St. Anne's Eco School program began actually in the Science Club, where we initiated our Eco School activities in the Science Club until the year 2016, when a former student, Leandria Aubrey, introduced the Eco School program. And then we eventually developed the specific club called the Eco School program. And after then, we have worked hard and we produce our initiatives to promote sustainability and conservation of the environment, not only on campus, but off campus in our wider Bahamian community. And guided by our eco code, Clean It, Live It, Love It, we became a eco school in the year 2018, receiving our eco green flag in 2018 and 2020, and also our bronze flag. And that is a lot for us to join the National FEE program and Brief Young Reporters program over here in the Bahamas as an eco school.
Oh, that's excellent. So see, and I love that. So you have to be certified to do these things. So you talk about a green flag and a bronze flag, and obviously St. Anne's and you students would have worked very hard to make that happen. So congratulations to all of you for your hard work so far. And of course, we want to find out what else you all will be doing in the future. So Aaliyah, what is the ongoing work necessary to implement this project?
We are committed to making a difference in the three main areas of focus in our action plan, which is litter and waste management, energy conservation, and biodiversity. As it relates to litter and waste management, we hold weekly pause and cleans or clean pick moments. We partner with Cans for Kids in the recycling of aluminum cans and previously plastics. We are intentional about reducing paper and recycling materials. In conserving energy on campus and beyond, we are intentional about turning off lights and appliances when not in use and operating AC units at about 24 degrees Celsius when possible, and embracing the utilization of renewable energy and energy efficient appliances and products such as LED lamps. In the area of biodiversity, we are focused on planting native and indigenous trees, gardening and labeling plants on campus with their common and scientific names. We continue to be resolute in our quest to raise awareness in areas of concern through promotional videos, social media, and the entering of national and global competitions. Becoming part of the solution is our focus, helping to alleviate problems such as global warming, climate change, pollution and habitat destruction, and its effects on biodiversity are some of our main focuses.
Wow, that is a lot of stuff. And I'm happy that you shared all of those things, Aaliyah, because it means that we can do some things here too. Like when you talked about the fact that you can turn your AC down to 24 degrees, I said, well, I wonder why we do that. And then I realized that you're able to save on energy by about 24% just by turning your AC down to 24 degrees Celsius, of course. And so thank you for that. That's something that everybody watching can take part in, as well as the list of other things that St. Anne's is currently up to try to maintain and help our earth to be a better place. Kaileb, how is the school's climate smart campus?
Well, actually, in 2020, our school, St. Anne's, we were awarded a grant from the Global Environment Facility, small grants program, which is for our climate smart campus capacity building project. So what this project does is it allows us as a school to reduce our carbon footprints, our greenhouse emissions, and our dependence on fossil fuels. And the grant, it covers four main components that helps to move us close to achieving our goal of a climate smart campus. So the first one is the installation of a 15 kilowatt photovoltaic system that supplies power to our school hall, and the installation of LED lighting in the school hall to improve energy efficiency. And these are both already installed and done. And the third thing is the enhancement of our school's vegetable garden, the climate smart agroecological practices, which is assisted by our school's priests and the members of our primary school. And lastly, the execution of the environmental awareness capacity building community outreach activities that engage the school and that wider community. Hence the need for our hybrid webinar on Thursday.
All right. And you can keep going if you got more to go, Kaileb, because it sounds like a lot going on there. Go ahead. That's it?
That's one.
Awesome. Well, I see Kelvin joined us. So Kelvin, I'm going to jump in with you now. You know, we've been talking about so many things this morning because you guys are really up to a lot. So I'm incredibly proud of St. Anne's. Shout out to the Blue Waves, my husband's alma mater. But also, you know, we've been learning about some stuff that you guys want to keep doing. Of course, we learned about that Google grant just now from Kaileb. Kelvin, can you tell us what St. Anne's has already done in the past in order to get to this place so far?
Yes, mom. Good morning. So, even before we became an eco school a couple of years ago, we've always encouraged environmental friendliness. Um, One of the earliest things I can recall us doing before the pandemic, we used to get the whole school involved. We used to have can dunking competitions, and the various grade levels, and the classes. We all used to participate in different competitions around the school to get us involved and excited. And we used to offer prizes like the floating trophies and pizza parties and stuff like that. We always like to host green days where we wear green, or we are able to purchase green treats like ice cream, jello shots, cups, stuff like that. Green dances where we dress up the hall and we have a little dance. um, Also, we like to get more involved with the environment in the community sense. We go to the beach and we have beach cleanups and campus beautification projects. We plant trees and we plant flowers and stuff like that. And we're also involved on an international scale. We interact with international organizations such as the YRE, Young Reporters for the Environment. We've done something with the embassy on the Earth Day awareness initiative. We also adopted a coral reef at the sculpture garden very recently. Um, all of these things combined, it helps to promote sustainability, and it helps all of our students to really get involved and take appreciation for it, which is why so many of our past members of the Eco Club have participated in degrees in environmental science and sustainability and protecting the environment. We take it very seriously at our school, and we hope to continue doing what we have been doing. So,
All right. Yeah, no, Kelvin, I mean, I am so blown away this morning. Like, I am so incredibly impressed by all the work that St. Anne's has done, all the work that you young people are doing. And I love that this is a part of your lives, right? Like, this is going to carry you as you move forward into adulthood. And so congratulations again to all of you. Caden, let us know very quickly, what the webinar is about on Thursday.
Hi. Upcoming webinar on Thursday.
All right, I think we're getting a little bit of disruption here, just for a second. So Xyan, do you want to continue with that question, or Caden, are you able to answer?
I think I can continue.
All right, go ahead, Xyan.
Okay, so on Thursday, the 19th of May, 2022, St. Anne's School will be hosting its own Climate Smart Campus Capacity Building hybrid webinar seminar under the theme, Agents of Change in an Era of Climate Change. Count us in. You all are invited to join us either in the school hall or virtually from 5 to 6 p.m. using the Zoom link behind me. I hope you can see it. Where we will talk about ways in which we can all make a positive difference in the environment. A number of facilitators and speakers will be in attendance and will be with us to share best practices and the opportunities to win small tokens, keepsakes, gifts. They're all up for grabs for those registered participants. So if you would like to participate, please, I believe the Zoom link and the form is sent to Bahamas at Sunrise. So please contact them and we hope to see you all there. I'd also like to add that registration is free. So see you all 5 to 6 p.m. At the school hall or virtually.
All right, and that's this Wednesday, right?
This Thursday.
This Thursday. Right. This Thursday, that's May 19th. Of course, you can join these brilliant young people. We are going to go, but before we do, Mikelle, talk to us about the future. What does the future look like for St. Anne's? What do you hope in the future looks like generally? Let us know.
I hope in the future, we can all try to help others maintain our eco-friendly environment. And the essence of what we seek to do as a eco school is summed up in our eco pledge. It is our responsibility to respect, protect, and care for the environment. We are committed to maintaining a litter-free environment. That means cleaning and making sure there's no garbage anywhere, and making sure that your classmates don't spill any popcorn on the floor, and conserving energy, like making sure that you turn off the fans and do stuff like that. And we're using recycling and using reusable water bottles instead of plastic ones because that's a lot of plastic. And we reducing paper usage and planting trees. Our journey continues with our primary school head girl, Jada Mackey. Jada Mackey is the founder of Healthy Hearts Organic Garden, teaching her peers how to grow their own fruits and vegetables and make more healthier food options. We will be part of the fight to reduce climate change and preserve our environment for future generations. We will clean it, live it, love it. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, y'all, this has blessed my heart so much today to see you all doing this. I really want you all to be encouraged in this fight. I want you all to take the same commitment that you have to excellence in protecting our earth into all areas of your life, because you all are such a brilliant and happy reminder for the entire nation watching this morning about what our young people are up to, about how positive you all are. And we really believe that you'll help to correct some of the mistakes that we've made along the way. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. We've been talking with this brilliant group from St. Anne's School. We've been joined this morning by, and I want to call their names so you can remember them because they're going to be the leaders of our future. We've got Caden Smith, Aaliyah Rolle, Mikelle Cartwright, Kelvin Archer, Xyan Henry, and Kaileb Burrows. And I want to correct that, not the leaders of the future, the leaders of right now. You can join them this Thursday for that seminar, for that webinar. These are the panelists. You can learn more about ways that you can implement these things, both at home and at school, but ultimately support our young people and their cause. Thanks again for joining us, St. Anne's School.
Thank you for having us. Don't forget to come to the webinar May 19th. Can't wait to see you there.
Thank you, Caden. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Fidelity, we're good for you. With so much going on in the world today, only accepting cash at your business can be risky. Let Fidelity offer you and your customers safety, convenience, and the flexibility of a fixed or mobile terminal. Take it with you, on the move and on the go, because business should never stop. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit us at any of our branches. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Our world has changed. Many businesses have been closed for months with little or no access to their customers until now. Rev Media can help you remain connected to your customers. Our trusted customized advertising packages and personalized consultants will provide your business with immeasurable support during this challenging time. Your customers are already watching. Rev Media can help you to remain connected. Call us today. Let us help you.
Welcome back. The Island School in South Eleuthera has one of the most eco-friendly campuses in the world. We visited the campus to learn about the school's commitment to zero waste and sustainable living. Xyan Newton has that story.
Every year, the Bahamas produces 300,000 tons of garbage. In South Eleuthera, At the Island School, which conducts applied research in waste management among many other disciplines, beer bottles, aluminum cans, potato chip bags, and other unwanted items are collected and upcycled to demonstrate sustainable ways to reduce the amount of waste that end up in dumps and landfills. While poor waste management isn't a pressing issue for most young Bahamians, for Dorlan Curtis Jr., the Assistant Director for Research and Innovation at the Island School, it's been a pressing issue since childhood.
So at times on Harbor Island, they would always occasionally burn the dump. And because we didn't live far from it, a lot of that smoke would come into our house. So for me, it was a huge concern that, what are we doing with our waste? And I think that kind of started the seed of being concerned about waste. Then I went off to school, looking at, ways of repurposing things that people would discard, I think was a key thing for the way that I lived my life. And then that eventually trickled into how would I actually conduct scientific research. So most of the research that I do is focusing on how do we take something that people don't care about, they do not want, and upcycling that into something that could be useful.
Among the unwanted items Curtis and his colleagues make useful is the commonly discarded cardboard box.
Cardboard for us is a huge problem environmentally. Everything that we consume in this country is brought in through a cardboard box. You order something from Amazon, you're getting a whole lot of boxes, and by volume, it does take up quite a lot of space in our environment and in our landfills. And for us, is this trying to upcycle or repurpose that material into something that is not only economically viable, but that can also feed people, as well as looking at its potential as a material to produce furniture, materials, and buildings as well.
For Curtis, upcycling cardboard and other materials in research projects at the Island School requires collaborations with colleagues like Allan Jones, a practicing artist of 10 years.
When we think about Junkanoo, when we think about upcycling, when we think about crafting in general, the Bahamas is not new to the idea of sustainability. We've always been in that game. It's not a new thing that we're being taught. We're just knowing that we've always been doing that, in my perspective as an artist. And coming full circle, making resources like these unique engineered materials that are kind of on the cutting edge of science, putting that in the hands of Bahamians like artisans. Simple as this. This is a shoe mock-up that we gave to a local artisan, and she decided to make the sole out of this micromaterials. And this is something she'd made in 5 minutes. So when we think about sustainability on the world stage of what Bahamians actually have to offer, the materials and the creativity and the ingenuity is right here. But making the materials more accessible is, I think, has been the underlying problem when it comes to exotic materials and avant-garde kind of sciences. And so along that track of seeing how we can take things that's basically banana fiber straw that's being upcycled to make a cushion for a chair, for instance. And this is just using simple wooden legs and using the rest of the material to basically think of fabricating possibilities. And this is just a simple test, but a proof of concept for potentially bigger industries that can come from our industrial waste and agricultural waste industry.
As for the more accessible materials, such as the glass from glass bottles and jars, Drexel Gomez, the Island School's waste management technician, says the use possibilities are endless.
These, more particularly the Click and the Sans bottles, we do try to encourage persons who do bottled tomatoes to take these and, of course, use these as products for their own product. Also, we take our glass products to Tarpon Bay. It's South Eleuthera emergency personnel. They have a glass crusher there that crushes all of our glass products into this broken piece of glass, and also is a fine sand aggregate that can be used in projects. Here we have our dining hall tables that is an incorporation of the same glass pieces as well as concrete. And we also had a student who did BJC coursework using the broken glass pieces. And also in terms of commercializing these products, you can actually use the aggregate, the sand aggregate, as an input for creating concrete blocks or whatever other uses that can come from it. And we just try to encourage our persons to see these products that have a second life as value rather than just taking them, carrying them to the dump and hoping that someone will set on fire and they'll just go away magically.
So how can Bahamians be more environmentally conscious in their day-to-day lives? Dorlan Curtis Jr. offers this advice.
So one thing I always tell people that I'm a huge advocate for is just composting. And then that is a way of mitigating the amount of organic waste that ends up at the dump that will eventually, create fires. So I think some key things is like starting at home, like tangible things that you can do, turning off the lights, being conscious of the water that you actually consume, and then what are you doing with your waste? I think those are my key things to people about starting at home, preaching that message to like your family members, people in your community, and then just by organic diffusion, those things will essentially catch on. But I'll be honest, it is difficult when you don't see so much of these systems like in the community to buy into it. And so I think it's just starting. It might be difficult at first, but I think it is worth the effort to save the environment.
For Bahamas at Sunrise, I'm Xyan Newton.
In the Bahamas, small business is big business. More than 90% of the businesses in the Bahamas are classified as micro, small, or medium-sized enterprises, or MSMEs. The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center was created to serve them. We at the Access Accelerator offer a variety of services to our clients: business advisory services, training and entrepreneurial programming, mentorship and incubation, and advocacy.
Joined the Click is an initiative started by Kaileb Bahamas Business Solutions last year when we were trying to figure out how to help business leaders as well as consumers to stay connected. Working with Canoe, working with other partners, working with the government and My Gateway to help them to connect with customers who want to place orders and want to be able to do things in a digital way.
My Gateway. My Gateway is a groundbreaking portal through which clients can request and pay for government services online. We have 28 services. We expect to increase the number of services to a minimum of 200.
I love that we're helping the government and helping our citizens to be more efficient and to use their time more wisely.
I invite you to sign up for mygateway.gov.bs and let us make government work for you. Join the Click.
This portion of Bahamas at Sunrise has been brought to you by RBC. From house hunting to home sweet home, RBC is by your side.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're at the halfway point on this moist Monday. I'm Anna Garcia Palacios.
And I'm Mark Daniels. Thanks for joining us dead early on this moist Monday.
Definitely a Mark saying it's so much more than moist. It is saturated. It is overflowing in abundance of blessing showers. Let's call it that.
Yes, I agree. The plants are happy. Like right now, if spring didn't sprung yet, it's about to spring. Because, that rain, the plants are loving it. And so get your plants in the ground, man. Save your rainwater. Get your bucket and your 5-gallon jugs. Get this water because plants, they really react differently to the rainwater than the water that comes out of the tap.
Okay, well, this is the botanist telling us he is the premier botanist in the country. Take that, put some respect on his name. And if he's saying so, then let's make something good come out of the rain for us as well. A beautiful conversation with the young people of St. Anne's School, Mark. They sound like they may be some budding botanists as well, truly caring about the environment, and then hearing from the Island School as well. It's good to just see these initiatives really taking root in our young people because they're the ones that are gonna have to carry it on.
And this is the type of mindset that we need going forward to adapt to these changes that we spoke about earlier, especially when it comes to climate change and the associated uncertainties that come along with it. And it's going to take that innovative mindset to keep this country going forward. So very proud of you, the St. Anne students. Island School always doing their thing, and anybody with a mind of sustainability, keep it up because we need you, every single one of you.
Indeed, we do. Well, speaking of innovation in the future, we've got more to come in the second half. We're going to be talking with Merrit Storr about the government's policy paper on the future of digital assets in the Bahamas.
Awesome. Looking forward to that because I know nothing about digital assets. And we're also going to be looking at options for reducing inflation and crime in our Economic Pulse segment. But before that, let's take a second look at weather with Godfrey Burnside and really see if it's about to rain some more today.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at weather, sunrise, broad area of unstable air mass, coupled with troughing, will continue to support showers and thunderstorms across the Allan chain. In your marine forecast today, winds southerly at 15-20 knots, 4 to 6 feet over the extreme northwest Bahamas, that's Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Bimini. For the remainder of northwest and central Bahamas, those winds are variable at 10 knots or less, seas less than 3 feet, but you can expect gusty winds in those heavier showers or thunderstorms. On Tuesday, winds are variable 10 knots or less, seas less than 3 feet, and on Wednesday, continue variable at 10 knots or less, seas less than 3 feet. Your tides. You can expect a high tide at 8:29 this morning, net low tide at 2:35 this afternoon, high gain tonight at 8:59. Sunset 7:47 this evening, rising tomorrow at 6:23, UV index 8. Your water temperature 77 degrees Fahrenheit, and the moon phase, full moon. Have a look. The living walk shear will continue through Wednesday, so we're going to keep those rain chances elevated. But by the weekend, we expect to elevate those showers again. Temperature daytime will be in the upper 80s, and nighttime in the mid-70s. That puts her off in your third look at weather at sunrise. I'm Dr. Burnside. Back to you, Storr.
Start or switch your mortgage with RBC by your side. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/mortgages to pre-qualify today.
Thank you so much, Godfrey. The government recently tabled a policy white paper on the future of digital assets in the Bahamas, designed to place the Bahamas at the vanguard of this new frontier. Here to discuss this with us, we're very happy to welcome Merrit Storr, who of course is the managing partner for Providence Law. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise, Mr. Storr.
Good morning, Mrs. Palacios. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm so happy to be speaking with you. I feel like it's been a very long time.
It has been a while.
But we're glad to have you back and to have you back on such an important conversation. You know, people are hearing these words move around. It really is the way, not just of the future, but of today. And so we're happy that you could come and bring as much understanding as possible to something that can appear complex because it is in its fundamental stages. So let's get started right away by asking, what is a digital asset? And in that context, what is the opportunity that is developing worldwide?
Thank you. So what is a digital asset? The best way to deal with that is to look at the definition in the governing legislation in the Bahamas and the DARE Act, or that's what it's called. The Digital Assets and Registered Exchanges Act is the governing legislation. And so it defines a digital asset as follows. And I'm going to read it because it's a bit technical. It says, means a digital representation of value distributed through a DLT platform where value is embedded or in which there is a contractual right of use and includes without limitation digital tokens. Of course, that introduces two terms, a DLT platform. So someone will say, well, what is that? And DLT means distributed ledger technology, means a digital public or private ledger in which data is recorded, shared, and confirmed by consensus and synchronized across a network of multiple nodes, which includes the DLT platform, formerly known as blockchain. Now, blockchain will trigger some people's thinking. And so an actual DLT platform means an online mechanism for the sale, trade, or exchange of digital assets offered by a digital asset provider to its clients. The definition also included a reference to digital tokens. So a digital token includes a virtual currency token, an asset token, utility token, or non-fungible token. Okay, and so a lot of that is brand new terminology. And what is the opportunity worldwide? Well, cryptocurrency uses blockchain technology, which is a DLT platform, which we're just reading. And this area is exploding worldwide. And so the Bahamas is actually on the cusp of this growth and is actually benefiting from the growth that's happening worldwide.
Yeah. Well, you know, it is a lot. It's a lot to understand, but if we take our time to try to go through those definitions, I think it can be understood. And I love that the paper begins with that so that you get an understanding right away of what you're talking about. And it's so funny that it's formally known as blockchain because it just tells you how quickly this space is evolving and how much it is new. And the fact that we're still talking about it in these terms is a reminder of how new it really is. Yes. Well, the white paper that was put and tabled in Parliament is said to set out a vision and a framework to guide Bahamian digital asset policy between now and 2026. Does the Bahamas have a presence already in this area, or are we just trying to get into it?
The Bahamas does, and the DARE Act, as I will refer to it, became law in December 2020. And so we have created a governing framework for this pretty early on to give credit to the regulator. The regulator is the Securities Commission of the Bahamas. And so because of that act, it has encouraged some digital service providers to actually locate their operations here in the Bahamas. And I'm advised that there are a number of others who are considering relocating or at least establishing a form of branch office here in the Bahamas. Recently, a few weeks ago, there was a huge cryptocurrency conference here in the Bahamas. And so this is all being launched off of this platform. We also have a digital currency. The Central Bank of the Bahamas is one of the first to introduce a digital currency, which is referred to as sand dollar. And so, you know, sometimes we're a step or two behind, but to give credit to the governments of the day and our regulators, we're actually kind of on the front line of this and stand to benefit quite significantly.
That is exciting to hear. And I love to see us you know, see how the world marks the manner we are bearing, right? And so it's good to see that we are making a stand in this, that our own central bank was so provocative and thoughtful and forward thinking in the creation of the sand dollar. Let's talk about the future. What is the future growth potential in this area? And what will be required for the Bahamas to take advantage of the opportunity fully? And when I say that, Mr. Storr, well, you know what, that's a political question. I'll leave it as I asked it. I'll leave it as I asked it. Let me know.
Well, I think what we have to do is build on what we've already established. The area is evolving very quickly. And so even though we introduced legislation in December 2020, we probably are going to need to amend it to keep up to date with the trends that are evolving. And this is a new evolving area of business. And the other thing that we're going to have to guard against or to try to protect is to ensure that we have a good reputation as a well-regulated jurisdiction. If we can combine those two and continue to grow the area, then truthfully, you know, just how we lost business kind of in the offshore sector, this is a potential area that will replace the employment of highly skilled Bahamians because it does require persons who are highly educated and highly skilled. So this is very exciting. It's a real opportunity for our economy to grow into a new area that heretofore we have not been in.
Yeah. Can you identify 3 things that the white paper is introducing that should help to grow the digital assets in the Bahamas?
Well, it's going to guide, and you mentioned it already, the white paper is going to guide policy between now and 2026. It introduces a digital advisory panel consisting of private industry experts who are supposed to provide recommendations and keep the regulators and the government up to date on what is happening in the industry. That panel has actually already been named. So those persons are already functioning. And it's also going to help to provide more resources for the Securities Commission, because as a regulator of a growing, I would say, blossoming area, they need to have the resources in place to be able to ensure that it's being properly regulated, that there are no rogue operators, because blockchain is a new area and there are a lot of people who want to exploit it, and all of their aims for exploitation are not legitimate. There are some illegitimate operators out there who don't mean well. And so we have to ensure that we keep those types of persons out and maintain a good reputation.
Wow, a lot to do, a lot to look forward to, of course. We do have to go, Mr. Storr, but before we go, is there any benefit for Bahamians themselves, or is this a foreign-owned business opportunity exclusively?
Well, in the first instance, there is opportunity for employment, okay? And it's not, it's highly skilled employment. And so there are high-paying jobs that would certainly be available. There are support services that this industry will require, including accounting, legal, real estate, other areas of expertise that are going to be required. I think it's still evolving in terms of what the direct entrepreneurial opportunities are for Bahamians. Obviously, we would want to ensure that if Bahamians can directly be involved in this business, that they have every opportunity to do so. It's not clear to me yet how those opportunities are going to evolve, but I think it is evolving and there will be opportunities.
Okay. All right. We'll take your word for it, as we always do. Love to wrap, Mr. Storr, but I am going to just push one more question. I think a lot of us, while some of the terminology may be intimidating, we see it as a new opportunity. And for those of us who witnessed the demolition of, it would appear, of our offshore banking sector that was so robust for so long, it can be very exciting. But it also comes with the fear that, will this be viewed by the OECD and the FATF as another type of offshore business that they want to shut down? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's not an offshore business. I mean, it's a worldwide business. It's being done onshore and offshore. The regulators, Securities Commission, has taken very careful efforts to ensure that we are complying with FATF standards, all of the concerns about money laundering. They're complying with all of those recommendations. So every effort is being made to ensure that we maintain a reputation as a well-regulated jurisdiction. So far, I think we're doing that. If for any reason we start to lag in that area, then that'll be an opportunity for them to say, oh, you guys shouldn't be participating in this area, and so on. If we are well-regulated and there's still efforts to shut down what is a legitimate business, then we know we're just being singled out because we're a small country and the big countries are trying to take advantage of us. But the key is to be well-regulated. And I think we are off to a good start in that regard.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Mr. Storr, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us this morning. We always learn so much whenever you do. And of course, it's a new frontier. I'm sure you'll be
Absolutely.
back more in the years to come as we discuss new things as they happen. But we're grateful for a basic understanding, especially from a legal perspective. And so we thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. My pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You do the same.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Sunrise. We'll be right back.
One thing, two things, blue thing, old things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Sometimes you need to make a classic move. That's why for all of life's moments, there's one classic credit card. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses as well as life's little surprises. Apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic and enjoy 1 year's free membership. Conditions apply.
we've been seeing increases in prices and also an increase in crime. How do these two factors correlate, and what options are there for reducing both? Here to talk with us about this is our brother, Carlos Mackey, the Executive Director and President of Money Max and President of Prime Financing. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. I should say welcome home.
Hey, Brother Mark, it's good to see you, man. How you been?
I've been doing well, man. Been on
Excellent.
baby duties, so feeling good, feeling team no sleep.
Yeah, listen, man, I understand. My daughter is here, and I left her in the bed, and she was slapping me, kicking me all night, so I understand completely, bro.
Get your licks, get your licks.
Yeah,
Always
man.
happy to have you on the show. So talking about a very interesting topic here, inflation and crime, and whether or not they are connected. So tell us, from your standpoint, is there, or what is the connection between inflation and crime?
Well, you know, inflation is what we call a general increase in the price level in a country, right, or in a particular industry. So right now we're seeing a lot of inflation, and normally inflation and crime are actually correlated. So as price levels increase, and you have persons who are, whether they are having no income or whether they're on a fixed income, unfortunately, what tends to happen is you'd see crimes, things as simple as shoplifting is normally where things start off. But then if the inflation increases, you'll actually see the crime begin to increase to more serious things like house breakings, robberies. Those are unfortunately results of what you would call a significant increases in inflation.
Wow, you know, until you explain it, it makes perfect sense, but you don't really think about it. And, you know, for someone who's already living, let's say, right on the line or below the line, inflation will definitely put your back against the proverbial wall. And so you can see how that is correlated. So we understand how inflation affects crime. So how does crime affect business prices?
So that's a great question. What happens a lot of time is if you are a shop owner who is stealing by reason of employment, right? Because employees also do steal from their employers. What has to happen is that inventory cost, that now has to be added back into the price of what it is that you are selling. So you can have situations where you go in the food store and you wonder why a can of, let's call it evaporated milk, cream in the common vernacular, right? That went from $1 to $1.25 in the space of 2 weeks. And you're like, but when I was at the shop 2 weeks ago, this was just $1. Why is this $1.25? Yes, there are inflationary factors, obviously, in terms of the supplier's price might have gone up, but you can also see a situation where shoplifting or pilferage by employees, right, causes these things to actually go up in price. Another thing that we don't often think about that causes the increases in business prices, stores and businesses actually having to pay for security officers and personnel. So when you talk about stores needing security guards, when you talk about stores needing armored car service, all of these things actually add up. If you think about a security officer who's working essentially a 8 or 10 hour day, right? That probably costs at a minimum somewhere around $400 or $500 a week. If you were to extrapolate that, right, over the course of a year, you get to see, so hey, 500 a week means that's 2,000 a month, means that's 24,000 a year. That's not something that most business owners are prepared to eat directly into their profits. They will have to pass that cost on in most instances, depending on the structure of their profit margin and the way that their industry is structured. So unfortunately, crime and even the threat of crime does indeed increase business prices.
Oh, that's some great insight. You know, when you pick up an item off the shelf, you just look at it and think that you're really just paying for that item. You're paying for the can, the label, and what's inside. But really, there's so many other factors that feed into it, like you just highlighted, that you get a better understanding of how prices fluctuate and what really goes into the true cost behind an item. So
absolutely.
How do we address decreasing both of these issues, inflation and crime?
I think there has to be some concerted effort that where we look at what is our actual root problem. People keep thinking that crime is the root problem in and of itself. No, crime does have causes, right? People keep thinking that inflation and lack of industrial development is a root problem. That also has causes. In my estimation, there are some things that we have to do structurally, yes. the criminal justice system has to be more effective in terms of not necessarily being a revolving door, but that also is a part of treating the symptoms. One of the big things that we have to do now is what I would call industrial and production planning, right? That means we have to look and say, all right, what do we need in our economy? What are, let's call it our list of maybe our top 200 or top 500 imports. Where in this list do we have the ability to actually replace that import with local production? Once we've figured out where we can replace that import with local production, let's now look at where we have low productivity or low utilization, of Bahamian talent. There are a lot of folk that are out of work. One of the things that we've done extremely wrong in this country is we've given folk welfare without responsibilities. So one of the things that I would recommend is if somebody who is of working age and is capable is going to be on some kind of social assistance, require them now to take part in some kind of mandatory skills training, right? That was an idea similar to something that Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich did back in the 90s in the US called welfare to work. Our version of that should be something that says, you know what, let's plan this around what our country and our economy needs. Look at what's missing. How can we fill those gaps and actually say, you know what, let's now require you, if you're gonna get this $100, $150 over whatever time period, there's a class, you have to log on to a portal, you have to take an assessment because we want you to become upskilled, because we can't attract investment into an industry, even into industries of need, if we don't have the talent. And that's how we have to think about how do we reduce crime, but also how do we reduce our dependency? Because a large part of our inflation is imported. The United States has had roughly now 3 years of 7 to 10% inflation, right? 2020, 2021, and so far in 2022. We then, right, have imported at least 2.5 years now, going on 3 years of 7 to 10% inflation. So it's no wonder, right? If we're importing, we're not even producing these items, we're importing them. So we're also importing that inflation.
Wow, such a great insight there. So much to unpack in that. But I do like how you laid out that we need to look at what we can produce locally and then how we can increase utilization amongst Bahamians. And so that ties into the next question as we wrap up. So in our solution for inflation and crime, what is corporate Bahamas's responsibility and what is the government's responsibility?
I think, the government's responsibility, in my view, is to create an environment, right, where businesses, entrepreneurs, individuals can thrive. I think we have to get to a place where the government says, and like I said, there has to be some level of responsibility. You can't thrive if you're not put in a position to thrive. And sometimes social welfare, social assistance can become a handicap if there isn't what I would call a level of responsibility, a level of skills development that's tied to that. So the very first thing that I think is a major part of what the government has to do is to say, yes, we are going to be very adamant that those who are capable are going to have to take part in skills development in order to receive social assistance, right? Another thing that I think is very important for the government to do is to be extremely committed about what I would call significant business. It takes roughly $250,000 to have a business that is sustainable to hire 20 people. We have to now sit down and say, okay, let's look at certain industries again, based on what our import list is, and let's make some targets. We have to be bold and say, instead of us looking at our deficit and our debt, because we're paying for some government corporations that have been doing the same thing year after year after year. And they're not actually solving anything with our import situation or with our local productivity. Let's say, you know what, every year for the next 10 years, we're going to commit $20 million to new business development. We are going to have essentially, call it Shark Tank, call it whatever it is that you want, but we are going to allow Bahamian entrepreneurs the opportunity to say, you know what, come and compete. Put your ideas out there, and we're going to put $250,000, $500,000 into this, and you're going to be required to sustainably hire and employ 20, 30, 50 Bahamians. Set a target, But if think about it, if you had $20 million a year, right? Let's call it $250,000 a time, or even $500,000 a time. You're talking about somewhere between 40 and 80 businesses, right? That are significant businesses. And when you think about 40 to 80 significant business, 80 times 20 puts us at about 1,600, if I'm not mistaken, right? So these are 1,600 good paying jobs in industries where we actually need the production, where we need the productivity. Corporate Bahamas simply has to do one thing: be prepared to actually invest. If the government makes the environment right, and there are people who are gaining the skills, we as business persons, we have to be prepared to invest. For some of us, that means start a new business, who are in business, or expand our product offerings. For those of us that are professionals working in business, let's be brave. Let me be careful. I don't want that to come off wrong. No political thing there, but let's be courageous, right?
Yes.
Let's be courageous. Instead of staying in a suit and tie and taking this big salary, actually, you know what? Start a business, pay yourself a big salary, but also bring 15, 20, 30 people along with you.
I love it. I love it. Karlos, Mackey, man, we could talk all morning about this. So many innovative ideas. We love your insight into this discussion on inflation and crime. We got to bring you back to talk about this some more, because inflation ain't getting nowhere right now.
Unfortunately,
so
not.
Mackey, Executive Director and President of MoneyMax and President of Prime Financing, thank you again for coming to Bahamas at Sunrise. Always a pleasure.
Mark, always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. Take care.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Into today's episode of Bahamas at Sunrise. We hope that you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Wishing you a wonderful day, even in the wetness.
That's all we can say about that. Stay dry. See you on Friday.
Bye.